So leveraging AI in those ways is a game changer. And even if you don't have like the capacity or capability to build your own software, I highly recommend looking into tools like Magix. Even Triple Whale has some decent rules and automations at this point.
Today, I sit down with Eric Hanefi, who is a good friend and CEO of Ad Alchemy. Today, we talk about work-life balance during travel, his agency matrix, as well as how he's utilizing AI in his agency today. I'm Nikita from aspectagency.com, and let's get into the podcast. Eric, it's a pleasure to have you on. I know we've been friends for a long time, and I know I've been itching to get you on this podcast, but finally it's happening. Welcome to the Scaling E-commerce podcast.
Thank you so much for the invite. Yeah, it's been long overdue.
Absolutely. And over the last few months, I remember you stayed at my place in Nashville during the Agency Founders event with Eddie Malouf and the 4Media team. So during those months, I remember I dropped you off at the airport and immediately you went to Thailand, and you've been traveling all around Asia over the last few months. So tell me a little bit about that and how has that affected like the work-life balance in your agency?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Well, really, the last couple of years, I've always been heads down, and I noticed how I was always kind of on the edge of burnout, and even just a 10-day vacation was really rejuvenating, but it never really kind of reset my nervous system, if that makes sense. And then I kind of just went balls to the wall with traveling, and I literally flew from Germany to Nashville, like 12 hours. And then 5 days later after the event, I flew back 12 hours. And then 1 day later, I flew to Thailand for 18 hours. So there was quite a hustle because I had like a 32 kilogram suitcase, a 20 kilogram like bag, and then a 10 kilogram backpack. So that's my first lesson, minimalism. If you want to be a digital nomad, you'll definitely have to strip it down and not take all your camera gear with you. And yeah, at that point, it really sunk in what a privilege it is to have an online business, right? And really have that financial freedom, that time freedom and location freedom, how valuable that truly is, right? Because I think we as entrepreneurs, if we are just heads down in our offices, really chipping away at our business and our vision, we don't realize what we are building here or how valuable it is or what quality of life it can bring to us. Because just being at home and in your usual town, earning 10K more, 50K more, or helping this business scale to 7 figures, you can really feel it. But when you actually get to spend the money, and especially on an experience, not just on like a material object or whatever it may be, that's when it becomes so real, suddenly. That makes sense. And yeah, thereon after, just to put it in a nutshell, I probably only worked 15 hours per week. So there was like maybe Monday, 10-hour day, then Tuesday, no work, Wednesday, 3 hours work, and then maybe on Friday, another day of 2 hours, which was really interesting because I wanted to work more, but where I was, there were so many distractions that it was pretty hard to, get a productive work schedule in. And that would kind of be my second lesson is if you choose to travel, make a decision. Either know that this is going to be a phase where you are off, right? And you can live in phases where for a couple months you are heads down, work 10, 12-hour days or 8-hour days. And then other periods where you're a little bit more laid back like that. So you accept that it's not going to be that productive, or you really, really have to make sure that you can be productive by booking an Airbnb that has a good internet connection. Trust me, it's easier to mess this up than we think. To have a decent workplace and to ideally have an environment that's not super distracting. So if you are in an area where there are a lot of friends or a lot of things going on, maybe don't get an Airbnb right in the midst of it, but more so on the outskirts, so you can remove yourself and recenter yourself, refocus. So from my view, what's kind of my experience with traveling.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing that I always like opens up my eyes whenever I leave my zip code or my postal code is like, first it's always like shock, and then it's like, wow, like I'm in such a grateful position to actually be able to do this and travel and all that stuff. So it's definitely nice to be in that position. And I always have a hard time also doing the work-life balance, when I'm out of town, whether it's like I do the bare minimum to make sure that everything keeps running, but I can't, make those bounds and leaps or set up SOPs or any of those sort of things while I'm out of the house, whether it's seeing family or going on vacation. So if you were to do it again, how would you structure it differently so that way maybe you're not working 15 hours, maybe you're working 20 hours, but it's more consistent output rather than like fluctuating?
Right. Good question. Well, I mean, I'm very grateful for how it happened. And also like the sacrifices I had to make with maybe not taking on a new client or more so maintaining instead of growing, it was totally worth it because this experience gave me so much where, it kind of ties back to what I mentioned earlier with the burnout. Now I feel so fully ready to just, work. And I've never been so happy just being alone and getting stuff done. Like before, I was always like in this fear of missing out state where, okay, I want to work, but then I also want to go out or I want to meet friends. But now it's just very clear. So once you are at a point with your business where you can do this, I would actually recommend trying out living in phases where maybe it's, 1 month out of the year, maybe it's 6 months out of the year. This is up to you and your lifestyle choices, but where you are actually not working that much, right? And really living it up and really doing whatever you like, being, in a different country with your family, or maybe it's something completely different, but where something else in your life has a priority, because really it's not all about work, right? And that's what makes it fulfilling life. And the thing that really bothered me, or which caused unnecessary annoyance, was that I didn't go into that period of my life with that expectation. I wanted to enter the year with like a heads down, full force work mode. But yeah, that didn't happen. It was very inconsistent, like you mentioned. And that's why I think expectations are really important. Now, in order to get it more consistent, and what I would do next year if I decide to do this again, I will definitely make sure that my Airbnb has 2 rooms, because it is not nice to have your office and your bedroom in the same room. It's definitely worth the extra bucks. When I traveled from Thailand to Bali, I got like an Airbnb with like a dedicated office. And the first week I locked the doors. I literally worked like 12, 15-hour days. And it was so nice. At the end, I was a little stressed out. So now I kind of balance it again. But that's really useful. Probably also being very strict with your phone, like especially if you want an environment where there are a lot of friends, which for me was the case. I was kind of in the big German community. You definitely don't want to be on social media or thinking about anything else but work for like the first half of the day or however long you choose to work.
Right.
And yeah, I think that would probably be the gist of it.
Yeah, I'd say those things that you mentioned have also helped me out a lot. I haven't thought of the 2 bedrooms one. That's a really good one. I have to try out next is, separating, the fun and having like a dedicated workspace that, like, okay, this is like where I zone in and focus on everything. So right. I really, really like that idea. When it comes down to the airplane mode, or like, I always have my phone on airplane mode until like noon, which has helped me a lot. And I kind of translate that onto the vacation side. So like, I try to get up around like 6 or 7-ish, maybe even 8 o'clock when I'm on vacation, and spend until noon getting all the most important things done. And I try to push all my client meetings to those times as well, so that afternoon, I'm like free to do whatever I want. And on the days where I don't have any meetings or don't have any client calls, those are like my open days where like from morning till nighttime, I'm doing whatever I want. So those have all helped me out. And I think those are good tips as well. Now, to transition on to more agency side, tell me a little bit about Agency Matrix, because I know you teased it a little bit before we started recording, and I'm anxious to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny little quadrant I came up with recently when I talked to another befriended agency on that. Let me see. Can I share my screen here? All right. So the Agency Matrix is a funny business because, of course, we run growth partners. I had an agency in the past, traditional ad agency. And what I've realized is that the things ecom founders, info product businesses, online education companies, they all face the same, right? How do they sort out great agencies from, not so great agencies, to put it politely? And it's tricky, right? And why do I have authority to speak on this? Well, funnily enough, I'm also hiring agencies for my own business. And what I've realized over time is that there's a certain correlation between the guarantees an agency offers and their competency. So let me illustrate this. Basically, we got a quadrant, right? So I'll just draw these lines. And really, the agencies we have out there, right? Many black sheeps do not offer a guarantee. But then there are also black sheeps that do offer a guarantee, right? So let's say we have like, let me see if I can type the text, G for guarantee, NG for no guarantee, and then R for results, and NG for no results. So basically, we have agencies that have a guarantee and that do deliver results, right?
Yep.
Then we have agencies that do offer a guarantee, but they have no results. And then we have no guarantee and results, and no guarantee and no results. How do we categorize these? It might be surprising to hear that the agencies that do have a guarantee and deliver results aren't the only ones you want to go for, right? And there's a reason for this. Do you have any idea why, Nikita? Or what's been your experience with these 4 categories?
So this is more so if you're looking to hire an agency, right? This is the matrix that you look at.
Exactly.
Okay, so your question was, there are agencies that you shouldn't go with even though they have a guarantee and they have results.
No, more so from these 4 categories, right? Agencies that do deliver great results and have a guarantee, that do deliver results and have no guarantee, and then no guarantee with results and so on. Like, what's your experience with them? Did you notice any difference in your interaction with them? I don't know how much experience you have with hiring agencies, but
right. I mean, so far, all the ones that have guarantees but no results are always in my cold emailing. Like they're, I don't know if that's the fact, but they're always cold emailing. They're always like spamming my Twitter DMs and my Instagram DMs. When it comes to guaranteed and results, it's usually an intro. Like like I get an introduction to them. Or I seek them out because of specific authority or status in the space. Headhunting. Same thing with maybe no guarantee as well. As long as they, like, if I know they deliver results, I would be looking for them, and I would also ask for a referral.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, maybe headhunting. What about like the ones that have no guarantee and no results?
I'm not even looking for those guys. They're not on my radar. They're just like bots.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the funny thing. Like, I just remove these notes, and I hope this is not too confusing with the G and R and whatever. Maybe you could have spelled it out. But my experience with this is that, of course, the ones that have no results and no guarantee, you could probably say they are like scammers, right? Now, the ones that have no results but a guarantee, that's at best like sketchy, right?
Questionable, yeah.
Yeah. And with guarantee and results, I categorize them as good marketers, right? They are good marketers, and it's definitely worth working with good marketers, especially if they have a good guarantee, because it's kind of a no-brainer. However, I would not be too fast to dismiss the ones that have no guarantee, because what I've noticed is that a lot of times these people are the true professionals.
Right.
And why is that? Well, this might be a bit controversial to say, but I would say that service providers almost evolve in a circle like this. Okay? Everyone starts at a point where, they can't deliver results, and they probably also don't have a guarantee. Then they learn about marketing and they start offering a guarantee, but they can't deliver results yet. Then they improve their craft and at some point knock it all off the park and still offer a guarantee. And that's a great place to be, right? Those are really the people who are on the cutting edge. And I would say like the pro is that they are like really on the cutting edge. Now, as they evolve, they become professionals and not only have so much business, but also have the track record and the reputation to not need a guarantee anymore. They might still have one in the back end, but they will probably not scream it from the top of their lungs.
Yeah, it's the worst case scenario.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've definitely I've evolved into this. I'm slowly evolving out of providing a guarantee to no guarantee. So
yeah,
this fully resonates with me.
Yeah, and it's funny because like it's hard to tell, right? Because it's really hard to tell, right? Is it like no guarantee, no results, or is it guarantee and results? Now, of course, if you have a referral, like Nikita mentioned earlier, or you've been headhunting them, you've been following their personal brand. For some people, you can just tell that they're legit, right?
Right.
But sometimes it's hard to tell. So the safe bet is a guarantee. And a lot of times professionals still do offer some sort of guarantee. And sometimes I've noticed, depending on who you are talking with, if they have such an incredible track record and great reputation, at some point their business might grow to a size where it's hard for them to provide the results anymore. And that's what I've noticed with a lot of big agencies, is that they aren't the hungry dogs anymore, right? They know they have a full pipeline anyway. They know they don't have to offer.
They get bloated.
Right. So they aren't like on as much on the cutting edge anymore. So really the sweet spot is like somewhere in between. So it's hard to tell, but over time especially when you've hired a couple of agencies and you've hit the spot and found like really great people, you'll be able to tell more and more who those people are. But yeah, this is just a fun quadrant or matrix that I've realized, because it's kind of counterintuitive that really the professions are the ones without a guarantee.
No, this is super interesting. And funny thing enough is, they may start off as quote unquote, not having any guarantees or no results, and they slowly evolve into becoming a professional. But they can also devolve back into scammer if they promote an unethical product, or if a product that is super over, like we know, like a Dan Locke type, they were probably really, really good at one point, but then they started to get really, really greedy and then started to provide unethical products,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the litmus test for this is personal integrity.
Right.
And you can tell with a lot of people, like I have very specific people in mind. When I talk to them, it's very obvious that they're not going to sell, right?
Yeah. They care.
They care. They don't use any sketchy or outrageous marketing, and they just deliver results, and they'll tell you, hey, look, we've had clients where things didn't go so well, or these are realistic expectations. And those are the people you can really trust.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I really, really like this. Now, one thing I did want to pivot out, like this is a really, really good matrix, and I'm sure like our listeners have gotten a lot of value from it. One thing that I did want to discuss with you, because this is something that's been on the forefront of my mind, and I'm sure every single agency's mind, but how are you implementing AI into your agency right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So one thing I like to ask the businesses I talk to is, how are you leveraging one of the most advanced technologies on the planet, right? And most people are dumbfounded because they realize, okay, I'm using ChatGPT for some copy. And that's a great start. But how are you actually leveraging it, right? Are you building API connections with ChatGPT to build your own software? Are you leveraging a tech stack to really optimize whatever KPIs you have? And for us personally here at Alchemy, we've realized that AI is the future, right? When ChatGPT came out last year, like proper version, we were on it. And I realized, okay, in order to stay on the cutting edge, we need to invest into it. So I ended up actually hiring a dedicated team for this. And we are building out our decentralized AI scaling script. At the beginning, it's been fairly dependent on humans, right? But now there are more and more automation set up that make it extremely efficient. And right now, really one main component of it is AI optimization, which you might have heard similar things from different tools. But really the key here is making decisions faster than any human, especially when it comes to paid ads and scaling massive budgets. It's incredibly important to, first of all, get accurate data, right? Because since iOS 14, that's been the number one thing why businesses have been struggling to decrease customer acquisition costs at scale. Because without that foundation, you can't get the proper insights in order to make an informed iteration, which then creates this feedback loop, right? You get data, you get insights, and then you leverage those insights to improve the input. And those, what we call at Ad Alchemy, interconnected feedback loops, of course, there's more that goes into it. Those feedback loops really will be the difference between a 0.5 or a 4x return on ad spend, if done properly. And we leverage AI and machine learning to basically not only have proper tracking in place, but also get really, really juicy insights that do create better messaging, do create better audiences, right? Right now we have the ability to actually create 20% lookalike audiences, which is double what the Facebook Ad Manager offers, which of course directly combats iOS 14 as one thing that you'll see when you research into it. One key thing of iOS 14 has been that the audiences have been shrinking. There are fewer data points, which of course make targeting and tracking much less effective. So leveraging AI in those ways is a game changer. And even if you don't have like the capacity or capability to build your own software, I highly recommend looking into tools like Magix. Even Triple Whale has some decent rules and automations at this point. There are also some amazing automation specialists you can hire on Fiverr or freelance platforms that will literally build stuff like that for you to automate a lot of things and integrate into your business.
Got it. That's amazing to hear. And I know our agency is utilizing AI mostly in the sense of copywriting and understanding a customer persona more, but it's also cool to see that you're utilizing it more so in data points, tracking, and attribution sense to get better results on the ad side. Now, I wanted to close off this podcast mainly because we're running short on time, but I wanted to close it off with, when you're using these sorts of systems like the AI scaling script or whatever the internal tool that you're using inside and building it out, are you utilizing it only on one ad platform, or are you trying to go omni-channel with Facebook, Google, YouTube, TikTok, etc.?
Great question. So what we've realized is top of funnel traffic is hard enough to crack on one platform. So usually our partners choose to really do that and then expand.
Right.
However, if sufficient budget is provided, we can just go hard on multiple platforms simultaneously, which can be extremely effective, because when your ideal customer sees your brand and your brand only, not only on one platform, but basically across the entire internet, even in their alarm app or whatever it may be, then you're going to build an air of credibility that is really hard to achieve any other way in today's marketing world. And if that's paired with like incredible copywriting, like you just mentioned, and you really hit those pain points or desires and really resonate with your ideal customer, then you're going to take over, right? And one part of that for us is a comprehensive sentiment analysis, where we scrape the reviews of the competitors of our clients, and then we identify the patterns of weaknesses, strengths, etc., etc. And based on that, we understand what the ideal customer is looking for, but not, for example, getting from the competition. And at that point, we can position our clients in a way where they provide those unique selling points. And if you give a market what it's starving for, you're just going to take over, especially if you are omnipresent, decentralized, diversified, and not put all your eggs in one basket.
That is amazing to hear. And I totally agree with you. Like, you might as well focus on one first, build that out, and then move on to the different channels. That's how we were, when we were working with ad clients in the past, that's how, we scaled them up instead of trying to attack everything at once, because that just sounds stressful, man.
Yeah.
But with that said, I mean, it's a pleasure to have you on, Eric. I learned a lot on both like the work-life balance, the agency matrix, as well as the things that you're working on internally on, catching up with AI. So yeah, definitely. I'm excited to check it out once you're fully dialed in the system, and got to have you back on and showcase that when you're done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that said, what's the best place for people to find you, and how can people work with you?
Sure. ad-alchemy.com is the best place to get started. I can also provide you with a link to a video that breaks it down. Just recently, we've actually launched a third iteration of our decentralized AI scaling script, for which we've been featured in a couple of articles. So they can read some more about that on the internet, Yahoo, Digital Journal, a couple other places. And yeah, other than that, feel free to reach out to me via email, eric@ad-alchemy.com. And yeah, that's basically
fantastic. Hit him up, guys. Definitely don't want to sleep on the AI side of things. Well, Eric, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much, Nikita.
Thanks again for joining us on the Scaling E-commerce podcast. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps out with the algorithm. If you want email marketing tips delivered straight to your inbox on a weekly basis from yours truly, then check out the link below or in the show notes to subscribe and join my newsletter. If you're a D2C brand with at least 10,000 email subscribers and interested in starting a conversation to work together, then go to aspectagency.com and we'd love to chat with you. And if you want to stay up to date with anything email and SMS, just follow me on Twitter @Nikita Vakrushev or check the show notes for the link. With that said, I'm Nikita, and I'll see you in the next one.